Welcome to the Freedive Café, episode 28 with Mouce. My name is Donnie. I'm the host of the Freedive Café. The Freedive Café is long-form interviews that get into the backstories, the training, the challenges, the passions, the fears, and personal philosophies of the world's freedivers. The website where we live is freedivecafe.com. All the previous episodes are there, along with their show notes, and there's a bunch of other information there too, including a blog which is slowly coming to life. If you never want to miss an episode of the Freedive Café, be sure to subscribe to the show through your favorite podcast app. On Apple devices, you can use Apple Podcasts, and if you're using an Android phone, I can recommend the Stitcher app. You can also find lots of options on the website for keeping up to date with what's happening. This episode of the show is brought to you by Audible Audiobooks. If you would like a free audiobook of your choice, and you can choose from more than 180,000 titles, go to audibletrial.com/freedivecafe and sign up for a free 30-day trial through that link. The book is yours to keep forever. You're not committed to a membership. Audible throws me a few cents in return for the sign up. So don't be scared. Go to audibletrial.com/freedivecafe and sign up. But the best way to support the show is to become a patron, which you can do at patreon.com/freedivecafe. The show wouldn't be possible without the support of the growing band of patrons. Patrons also get the guest schedule in advance, and patrons who donate $5 or more a month can have their questions asked on the show. So if you want to participate in the show itself, get over to patreon.com/freedivecafe and take it from there. For the rest of May, we'll still be offering free worldwide shipping on buoys and lanyards from 2B Free Equipment. I just got back to Taiwan and I was pretty stoked to find my own To Be Free buoy had arrived and was ready to go in the water straight away. All my buddies are amazed by the build quality and aesthetics, and we've actually decided we're going to be selling them here in the shop in Taiwan. No matter where you are in the world, Freedive Café listeners can get free shipping on any of this gear. All you have to do is go to 2B Free Equipment, that's the number 2bfreeequipment.com. Choose the products you would like to purchase, and in the order notes write Freedive Café free shipping. That's it, job done. So I'm back in Taiwan now. It's been an amazing 2 months in Indonesia, doing both my SSI and AIDA instructor courses. It's really kind of sad to leave and come back to the reality of my day job, but I honestly love Taiwan too. And it's time to start a new chapter in my life. I'll be launching my own little freediving school here soon. The diving is amazing here. We have a great little spot for the shop. So if you feel like experiencing a wildly different culture and waters as yet not experienced by many foreign divers, consider coming and paying me a little visit, and maybe we can get out in the big blue together. Let's talk about the show though. We're fast approaching the second year of the Freedive Café. The first one has been amazing. The second one is going to be even more amazing for sure. Things will be pretty much staying the same. I'm thinking of adding a listener's mail section to the episodes so anyone can write in and ask me questions about freediving. I would do my best to answer them myself, and if I can't, then I would reach out to my contacts and find someone who can. If you think this is a good idea, an extra 10 minutes at the end of the show for a little Q&A, let me know and I'll make it happen. But you gotta let me know, otherwise it's not gonna happen. If you're a Patreon supporter, you will be updated about the guest schedule very soon. If you're a $5 or more patron, you'll receive the first guest list of whom you can ask questions very soon too. Those guests, if all go to plan, will probably be Carlos Coste, Kate Middleton, and Emma Farrell. Don't forget to get in touch if you have any suggestions or questions. I read and reply to every mail I get, so don't be shy. Which reminds me actually, one person contacted me recently to ask about putting time markers in the show notes so you can know exactly when each topic is discussed. I can't find that mail, but if you're listening, my friend, at the moment it isn't possible to do that as it's just too time consuming. Because of the way this show is edited, it would mean going through the entire episode again to make a note of those times. At this stage, when I'm unable to employ someone to do that, I just don't have the time. I do love the idea though, so maybe one day. All right, let's get on to today's amazing guest, Gili Mouce. Gili is an instructor for SSI, AIDA, Apnea Total and PADI, as well as an instructor trainer for Apnea Total and PADI. She's also an accomplished competition freediver herself, holding records for Argentina in constant weight and no fins. She's also the owner of a very well-known school in Bali, Apnea Bali, and another school, Freedive Air on Gili Air, just off the Lombok coast. Gili is especially well known for her success in coaching some of the world's top athletes, and as one of the most experienced instructors in Asia, having introduced hundreds of new students to the sport, she's madly passionate about it. We're madly passionate about it too, so without much further ado, let's dive. Let's rock and roll.
Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah. So just tell us, Julia, whereabouts do you come from exactly, and maybe just give us a little bit of a background where you're from, and how did you first discover the underwater world?
Okay, so I'm from Argentina. I'm actually from Buenos Aires. So we can say that I grew far from the ocean, but I would go holidays in the sea every summer with my family, and I absolutely love it. Like we would arrive with the car, and straight away, my brother and me would just get naked and run in the sea. You know, like just as we arrive on holiday, it was the first thing that we always do. And I started of course, I always play in swimming pools in the summer and all this. But then I made my lifeguard course because I watched too much Baywatch, and I love it. And I really love it. And then I had the chance to do a scuba course, but I did it all actually I swim in an aquarium and everything. I was like, wow, this is mind blowing. But it was my dream always to be a diver, because when you're a kid, you see all these Jacques Cousteau videos,
yeah, mm-hmm.
And it was kind of mind blowing to me. So it was literally my dream to scuba. So then I entered in a military. There's a military force in Argentina that they open for civilians, a professional scuba diving course. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of really difficult to enter because it had many physics, tests and all this. But I prepared and I passed and I entered and I passed it. I was the only girl actually. I was the only girl in the whole thing. When I have to shower, I have two cops, two military cops in the door, taking care of me. And everybody was removing the thing and saying hello to me. Was amazing. But then I always feel like I was out of place in Argentina. I think it's related to the fact that I was living away from the ocean, and it's not the most accessible sea, in the world. It's not really made up for scuba except a little bit in the south. But it's quite cold. Conditions are really, really rough. And then I moved to Spain, and when I put my head in the Mediterranean Sea, I swear that I cried. I remember I have swimming goggles, and I was like, there are fishes. So, of course, I continued to do scuba diving, and I started to play underwater hockey. And then I decided to take holidays in Thailand, and somebody spoke to me about this Apnea Total school in Thailand, who I think was one of the first ones, in the world. Well, of course, I did the course and I signed up for everything. I lost my flight tickets. I stayed 6 months and I came back to Spain. I was utterly unhappy that I wasn't freediving, and they told me, okay, we're going to hire you if you come and do the instructor course. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So I have my flight ticket the next day.
It's like a freediver's dream come true.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So you did your first course with Apnea Total, which is on Koh Tao, right?
Yeah, I did it with Eusebio and Monica. Yeah, it was mind blowing, and they were very passionate about that. And I like also a little bit the idea of freediving is about enjoying, about being free in the water. And I do feel free in the water. I think it's the place where I'm more free.
So when you did your first courses with Apnea Total, is Is that something that you found really easy from the beginning, or something that you had to kind of like you had to learn a lot and you had to develop your skills, or was it just natural for you?
I think I was quite good on the first course because of the fact that I was playing underwater hockey. So I was used to be in the water. I am a little bit gifted about equalization, that I have hands-free equalization from always. And so the first course was easy. The advanced wasn't that easy, because you have static, which is not really my thing. But it was challenging, when I started going deeper, I could really feel, I was actually scared of going deep. But when I started going, I did the master, which lasts at least 5 weeks. And then something that happened to me even now is I don't know how to fulfill my day when I don't free dive. It's boring. When I don't free dive, the day is long. It's boring. Sorry for everybody who is listening and live in the city, guys. That's how I feel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I live really close to a really good free diving spot actually, but the problem is that it's really hard for me to find buddies here. So I have the water right there, but I can't get in the water, and it just drives me mad sometimes, you know.
Actually, I can connect you. I have friends in Taiwan, and they are gonna be there in Taiwan, and they want to free dive.
Oh, nice.
So maybe I can connect you with some of them.
Yeah, God, I'd love to. Yeah, I've got all the gear, so I can take them out to and show them the nice spots. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, they are gonna be really willing for it.
Nice. Um, just tell me, Julia, I've got no idea what underwater hockey is. Could you maybe just explain, like for other listeners who also don't understand, like how does underwater hockey work?
So basically, what you do is you play in teams. You are 2 teams of 5 people, and you have goals. At the end of the pool, of each end of the pool. So you use the whole pool. It must be a deep pool, and it must be 25 meters long. And so what you do is you have like a puck, and the puck is heavy, and you have really small sticks. You use only fins, snorkel, mask. You use gloves because you do hit each other, with the puck and with stick. And the idea is that you have to convert goals in the other. So actually, it is amazingly funny to play, but it's so boring to watch because normally, in the you don't see anything.
Can't see anything, yeah.
Just it's people going up and down. You don't know what is happening in there.
Yeah. So is that like so you'd be on the surface kind of like snorkeling, but waiting until you have a chance to get the puck, and then you would like do a breath hold and like dive down and like hit the puck and then back up to the surface for the next next breath?
Yeah, but actually you don't spend any time in the surface. Like I think if the match, I don't remember now, but the match I think lasts, each time is 20 minutes, and you are much more under the water than you are on the surface of the water. You just come up, take a breath, and go down again. It is, it's a team sport, so it gets you like really engaged, So, but I tell you one thing, I make a couple of championships, so you play like 5 matches, and I have never done something that was more tiring than that.
Right.
You literally are so lactic when you finish your competition that you cannot move. Like you literally cannot move. I remember taking like a muscle analgesic because I couldn't move. I couldn't function. I couldn't even speak.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of thing that if you like that night, you're just gonna go and lie in the bed and like you're just gonna fall asleep instantly.
No, you can, because you are under so much pain that you don't. You just lay on the bed and you say, "Oh my God!" But yeah, but it's very fulfilling, and when you win a match and when you make a goal, it's like it's really cool. But it's actually a very intense sport.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Like, I'm sure there's some videos on YouTube that I can find. So during this underwater hockey, do you ever have people like, because they're so engaged in the match that they kind of forget to breathe often enough, and they might have some like LMC or blackout or something like that?
No, I've never seen that in a match. I have had black eyes and bruises in all my body, which is horrible because you need to explain people that you play underwater hockey, and when you say that, they look at you all puzzled about that. But no, I never saw that. I think there is a release of adrenaline. So you don't go in the state of that you are like relaxed. You're always like in a little bit of a fighting mode. And the urge to breathe normally is quite intense because you are moving and you're doing a lot of things. So it's a little bit different than freediving. It's much faster, everything is fast. Even the training is different. We don't train to do like long breath holds only. We also train to go in speed and do breath holds and try to breathe the least we can with the repeating, lengths of the pool on speed and with the only 10 seconds to breathe, and then you do it again very fast and 10 seconds and you go until you cannot move anymore.
So do you feel like underwater hockey gave you a kind of a good base before you started freediving?
Yeah, so what it gives me is like I have a good capacity to recover fast from the breath hold, which is very helpful because I love teaching. So normally when you are teaching and you have students, you don't really have time to breathe between dives. And I like to go all the way down with all my students, so I do have to do breath holds repeatedly with no really big times to recover on the surface. But I think that's something that came quite natural to me.
Nice. So how long did you work with Apnea Total? Because you eventually went on to you founded two freediving schools, right? You have Apnea Bali and Freedive Air, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked in Koh for a year, and then I moved to Dahab because I wanted to see a different way of teaching. I wanted to see how it was actually to freedive deep, because we were a little bit, there was no much depth in Koh for training for depth. So I wanted to explore more that world. I thought it was fascinating, the whole world of freediving. So I also have the offer to come here to open the school in Bali, and I thought it wasn't really, wise from me to go there without having like a little bit broader picture, of the whole thing. And like if you want to see something, you need to go to the hub, because the hub is the mecca of freediving.
Yeah.
So, and it's beautiful, and I think everybody should dive in there. Of course, everybody should come here in Bali to dive, but the hub is a must do in your freediving life. So then there I was there just to train and I compete triple depth. I did horrible in triple depth. I was so nervous. But then I got to meet the girls from Freedive International. They were two girls, Lotta and Linda. And they actually offered me a job to work with them. And I was like, yeah, of course I want to work with them, because they were amazing coaches. And I saw them working and organizing competitions. And for me, they were so professional that I really wanted to learn from them. And parallel to that, then I have an offer to work for Sarah Campbell, and it's like, come on. I was like, yes, of course, please, I pay you. Let's do it.
It sounds like the stars really aligned for you at each step along the way, like you get the job offer at Apnea Total, and then you go to Dahab and you get a job offer there, and it's perfect.
Yeah, it was. I have to say that I was really lucky with my freediving career. I was lucky enough to work with people that were really mentors. So when you have so good mentors, it's easy to then become a good instructor, because they were really meaningful in my freediving career.
How did Apnea Bali come about?
Well, Apnea Bali come about. It was a little bit, it wasn't like an easy path, to arrive to have Apnea Bali. I started here with another school, and it didn't work out between us as a partnership, and so we split. And then I decided, that I didn't want to give up my dream. So I opened Apnea Bali, with a guy that was at the time my boyfriend, Lucas. And we started this, but we started this for a school, and then I got the chance to buy Apnea Bali, and so I got it, and I got it with my business partner now, which is Ellie, and she's from Mexico, and she's in Mexico now. And it started very slow, very small, and with the time it started to become like I think it's quite reputable as a school, which is a thing that for me made me proud. And I don't know, if you ask me what is the thing that I love most in my life, is my school.
And how long have you had the school now?
I've been here in Bali for 7 years, and Apnea Bali started 6 years and a half ago.
Ah, so quite a long time actually.
Yeah, it's quite a long time. But when you're living in these islands, because you live in summer, you don't notice.
Yeah.
Thanks God I have Facebook to remind me how many years I've been doing these things.
And what about Freedive Air? I mean, how did that come about? Did you start that on your own, or was that with a partnership with somebody else?
No, actually, Freedive Air it's a mix of two schools. It's a cooperation between Apnea Bali and Apnea Canarias.
Right.
So my business partners are Miguel Lozano, Santiago Chacas, and Jordi Alarcón, and also, of course, Elian Deep, my business partner. So this was something that we did all together, and it's quite nice. Gili Island is a very chill and laid-back island. There are no cars in there. The visibility is astonishing, beautiful. So yeah, the concept of Gili Air is a little more close to that you can have in Koh Tao, because you have more people passing by, so they are more looking forward to do freediver courses, just start freedive, go swimming with turtles. Whether here in Apnea Bali, we have a profile of people that really wants to start the career of freediving. So people come here and stay. They stay and they train and they...
Yeah, so it's more, Apnea Bali is more kind of geared to like maybe a little bit more serious, someone who wants to train on a daily basis for an extended period of time with perfect conditions.
Yeah, we have really good conditions. The thing is that we can go from shore, which is always really, really comfortable. We have a shelter depth to 65 meters. And then we have the platform that is set up at 170 meters. And then there, of course, we are in Bali, this is Indonesia, so you have currents. So there we work we have windows of really good conditions, and we work on those windows. So when we work on the platform, it's much more precise, it's more about deep diving. You go, you do your warm up, even if we are a couple of divers, or even when we do competitions, but it's more, it's really, really like a professional and much more like, okay, we come, we do this, sticking to a really strict plan.
Talk us through a kind of like a day in your life. What does like the average day look like for you at the school?
So normally I do like to dive early morning when the conditions in the sea allow us to go early morning. I think we all freedivers, probably because we don't like to have breakfast.
Yeah.
and then we're gonna be hungry if we do it later. We like to go in the water early morning. So normally I would wake up at 6 and then have a coffee to be a person. And then, sorry guys, yeah, I'm a freediver who drinks coffee.
Da, da, da.
Yeah, sorry. And then, I just go to the school, and normally I meet with the people. And I do most than anything coachings, which means I coach people they have certain things that they want to achieve. So normally I have a talk with them to see where they're coming from, what is the experience, what they think are the troubles, and then I tell them what is going to be the plan in the water, and we just dress up in the school and we walk to the water. And then we have buoys. We have more buoys set up in there, and then we just attach to the buoy, and then we start training. Normally a train, depending on the person, sometimes some people are more tired than other ones, but I wouldn't say that we stay in the water more than 3 hours. I would say the maximum is 3 hours. Sometimes I have to come back in the water because I have very different levels of students. So I come and I do a different kind of coaching. I go in the platform if someone wants to go deep. And then you go lunch and your day is done. Hard life in Bali.
Yeah, it's hard life, yeah. And then I guess you can sort of like do your get online and do some office stuff and wine day nicely.
That's what you do, like I can sit in front of a computer for a maximum of 1 hour. I'm quite hyperactive. And then normally, I don't know, you go for a run. We do sports, like we either go for runs. We also like taking photography, so we can go and do a snorkel with the camera, or we go in the gym, like you do these kind of activities. But actually, because we freedive, we tend to go to sleep quite early, and then we tend to wake up quite early in the morning. You know, like you want to enjoy the day in the water.
Yeah, especially in a place like Bali.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you know, like where we are is not representative from what the image that people have from Bali, because it's actually a really quiet place. You know, like it's not easy to get party where we are. So if you want to train and focus, probably you're gonna find this quiet easily.
Nice. So are you also involved in training yourself for competitions, or are you exclusively doing coaching at the moment?
Well, I started training like you know, like we have here, we have been a little bit with the volcano situation. So when we have to close because we have been evacuated in the school. So then when we could reopen, of course, that people were not coming, you know, they were not flying to Bali like crazy, because of course there are so many places in the world that you would choose something that is not so irregular, no, in that moment. So in that month, of course, that if we don't go teaching, then we go freediving, you know, like we have everything in there. And I actually really love that, you know, that I finally have some time to train again, because since I left the hub, which was like, I don't want to lie, but I think it was something like 8 or 9 years ago, I haven't really trained for myself, except for if I don't go in the water with somebody, I go in the water for myself, but, you know, except for doing some exercises, RBs or bottom times. But yeah, I started to train these days, and yeah, it's going pretty good, you know, like seeing people going so deep and teaching people and talking so much to people really gets into you. So I can really feel a huge improvement from my young years in the hub and now, you know, mature freedivers. I feel much more relaxed, you know, like my feelings in the water are completely different.
Mm. And when you're training for yourself, do you have a favorite discipline, or do you just love any kind of deep free diving?
Well, I tend to do I like to do a little bit of base training. Like I like to do bottom times. I like to do RV diving. I also like to do FRCs because they are longer and I can really work on my focus. I don't think I have, because I don't have equalization troubles. Like literally, I don't have equalization troubles. What I need to work on is in my focus. Sometimes I'm a little bit unfocused, and more when I have been teaching for a very long period, because everything that I'm doing, I'm thinking that I'm going to explain to somebody else. So then I need to change a little bit the mood in my head and then just focus on being me. But then I just like to do deep free diving. But I like deep free diving, you know, like I'm a little bit like, I hate the excuses. I think that to be a good freediver, you need to be a little bit Spartan. You know, you need to go for the Spartan diving. You know, if there is current, you dive. If there is waves, you dive. If you are cold, you dive. You know, like you need to be a little bit more. You need to stop looking for excuses to stop yourself for doing something that's utterly inside of you. You know, like I hate, and I really give shit to my students when they start like, no, because they were talking and they were doing that. And I'm like, freediving is not outside of you. Freediving is I think it's one of the most honest sports in the world because it's so much inside of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron Solomons was saying the same thing, that he has no time for students complaining and being soft on the surface. And as far as he's concerned, the dive basically starts when the feet leave the surface, right? So anything that happens before that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because Donnie, this is exactly the same. I always tell the guys, like, this is like if you're gonna go in a trip and you arrive to the airport and they delay your flight. And then you say, no, my trip is horrible, this travel is gonna be disgusting. It's the same thing, you know, you can have waves in the water, in the surface, you can have people screaming, you can have a situation, but actually your dive, you know, the dive is a journey, it's not just a destination. So if there is something that we have when we go down in the water, it's time. And I think this is the thing that people don't get when they are not yet relaxed in the water. You do have time. You do have time to fix things. You know, like freediving, you know, you go in now. So you go doing one thing at a time. And if you go getting one step right at a time, then the future is gonna be amazing in freediving. So you need to give yourself the opportunity to fix things in the water. Because I can speak, I'm more like an experienced freediver. I really don't like the freediving philosophers. The people that don't do anything, but they think they know everything about freediving. I think the only way you can learn to freedive is freediving. Yeah, because if you don't have experience, if you don't have sensations, if you cannot explain what is happening to you, then you cannot really learn to freedive.
Yeah, I hope I never personally end up being the freediving philosopher.
Yeah, well, there are many in our community.
You said that, did I read online that you taught yourself hands-free, BTV?
Yeah, because when I started freediving, I really didn't have it. I started to doing the BTV exercises. I kind of have it at moments, but then I have had students that they have it naturally, and I have had some of them that they would end up with the squeezes. And then I asked them to explain me what they were feeling, so I wouldn't really get it. So what I started to do while I was teaching the students is instead of doing equalization, I would start going with my hands free. So then I started to do different things. So then I started to experience the horrible things they were having, and then I started looking for solutions for those things. So yeah, I think it gave me a lot of insight into equalization, to learn to do hands-free equalization by myself, because I understood a lot of things that were happening when I equalize that before I was doing naturally, but then when you have to explain to somebody, it gives you more insight into that. So instead of just doing things, it just start to analyzing what you are doing, which for me was really cool. It was really good because now I can even see what the people are doing, depending how they are putting their mouth and stuff, so I can spot what are the mistakes that they are doing.
When you say that you, so I guess like you used a combination of going down yourself and trying it out yourself, but you also did the BTV exercises over some time too. And do you think that helped you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did the BTV only during my master in Apnea Total because I hate the exercises. There's no many things that are more unsexy in the world than doing BTV. Half of the time you are gagging. So I do feel that they help a lot. I think they are really great exercises, not only to try to develop hands-free. I give them to people that wants to, that some people have these eustachian tubes that are a little bit more constrict. So I do know that they work because I didn't have it before I did these exercises, the hands-free equalization. I did it after I did that. I started to have it in the master course when I was doing this exercise, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I know I have a couple of friends that also got it from those exercises. So I really believe in them. I think they are really good exercises.
Yeah, so I started to do the exercises about 1 week ago. And I think I've done it like 4 times now. And actually, I already noticed that I'm getting a different sensation now. And I'm making some kind of connection with the muscles there that I never had before. And I'm almost a few times today when I was practicing, I almost felt a clearing of the ears. So I'm really excited to see what'll happen if I keep the exercises going for a few more weeks, and then yeah,
you have to try it later in the water, but you're gonna see it really works, and you have to do a lot with relaxation. And I'm gonna tell you one thing: the whole thing about the equalization is relaxation. People cannot equalize because they don't relax. It's 90% of the time is relaxation. I would say 95% of the time is relaxation. If you can go to 70 meters, and then you cannot go 75, you don't have an equalization problem. You have a relaxation problem. Because if you can equalize to 70 meters, it means that your equalization technique is good. Yeah, the problem is that maybe you're not relaxed enough to keep on going or to manage what you are doing at this step because you are too tense to manage. So, like people always want like the magic thing. And I see all these videos when people explain equalization in such a complicated way. And I'm like, equalization is equalization. It's putting air against your eardrum, and balancing pressure. That's all that it is. There are very different, I spoke with a lot of deep freedivers, and they do very different techniques. Some press it with the cheeks, some do frenzel actually, and they can get to 125 meters. Some just do BTV at the end of the dive. So, like at the end, there is no basic rule for that. You must discover what works for you. The only problem is that people don't have the patience to wait or to train enough to get it. Like you need to be patient. You need to have feelings. You need to relax. You need to understand your body. You need to do many things. It takes many steps in freediving to arrive to a very deep dive. It's something I learned with very deep freedivers, is that all these people have put a lot of hours and effort in what they are doing. So there is no magic thing.
There's no magic pill, yeah.
There is no magic pill. And I think freediving is in comparison with other sports in the world, is such a fair sport, because if you practice and you train, you're gonna get there. Whether if you want to run 100 meters and be the champion of the world, you have to have some genes into that. In freediving, no. You have a person like Sarah Campbell. She's small. She doesn't have huge lungs, and she goes and breaks the world record in 9 months. So it doesn't. You don't need to be like a genetically amazing to do freediving. You just need to be patient and understand yourself in this medium that is the water.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you, like, for a diver who has reached, say, like 30 meters on frenzel and feels like it's impossible to go any further, and let's say, okay, well, let me ask this question. I've seen you write somewhere that you can't understand why you would teach someone mouth fill before they can comfortably reach 45 meters with frenzel. Explain why you think that.
I think, what I think, that the mouth feel is a tool. Mouth feel is a tool that you need to learn when you need it. And I always believe that tools you need to apply when it's necessary. So when you cannot arrive to 30 meters with a normal frenzel equalization, the problem is not your equalization technique. There are many steps before that you need to reach. If I teach you mouth feel to go to 30 meters, I'm not making you a better freediver. I'm just giving you shortcuts. Yeah, and actually, probably if I give you mouth feel and you cannot reach 30 meters, I'm just adding one more problem to your diving. And I think that freediving, when you are teaching, it must be very simple. Freediving is simple. It's going down and coming up. The only thing is that when you are going down, it's like you are playing Tetris with your body. So what you do is, like, as you go down, you need to start to understand a little bit how your body is going. So the most important thing at the beginning when you start freediving, what is? Technique. Okay, so you want to go to 30 meters. Do you have the perfect technique? No. So why would I be teaching you a different technique, which is the mouth feel? We need to work first on your technique. So then we are going to work on your technique. When you work on your technique, you're going to be more relaxed because you know that you're going to be efficient in the water. Okay, so then we have to start working on your relaxation. So then we have to start working on your free falling. And then we have to work on your free falling position. And during your free falling position, we need to work on how you manage the muscles in your body, how you're relaxing different muscles in your body. Yeah, so I think until you don't have a little bit of a deeper understanding, of your whole body, if you make somebody do mouth feel, you're not really helping this person. And I always thought that, it's like, in this sense, when a freediver is coming to you and the freediver is not going deeper than 30 meters, it's all the responsibility of the instructor. It's not responsibility of the freediver, and it's very easy for an instructor to say, like, you know what, your equalization technique is bad. That's bollocks. I saw people doing Valsalva to 40 meters, head down. Why they can do it? Because they were relaxed. Yeah, they don't have the best technique, but they can do it. We're going to work on that. So teaching mouth feel to somebody that cannot go to 30 meters, for me, is like trying to put the problem into someone else when actually you should be the one that is helping to solve the problem. I think it's laziness from the instructor.
Yeah, I agree with that because just from my personal experience, like I was in the situation where I was going to 25 and I thought that was it for me. And when I finally got into a place where I could dive every day for 3 weeks, by the end of the 3-week period, I was comfortably doing Frenzel to 40, 43. So I think that it's, for me, it was a combination, probably about, 70% of that at least was relaxation. And I think also there's something to be said for the adaptation of the residual volume over time. Because when you first jump in the water after you haven't been diving regularly for some time, like you don't have the same residual volume that you would have if you were in the water every day, right?
I don't think so, because the thing is, of course you're gonna do adaptation. You're not gonna come from doing nothing to go 100 meters. You're not gonna try to reach your PB the first day you jump in the water. But I would say that pretty fairly, all my students, in 4 days, I would say that most of them will reach 30 meters easily. But it's not about residual volume, I insist, it's about relaxation. Because the problem, everybody can go to 25 meters without really reaching the residual volume. The problem is that because you are tensing, you are tensing. Normally when we tense, it's the most normal thing that we're going to tense is 2 parts. One is the belly and the other one is your shoulders. So actually when you do that, you are not allowing your body to do what is natural for it. What is natural for the body? You go down, your lungs compress, your diaphragm go up. Yeah, but if you tense your belly, you're holding the diaphragm. You're not letting the diaphragm do what is necessary to do. If you also tense your shoulders and you tense your neck, you're not allowing yourself to equalize. So that's the problem that you have when normally you say like, no, I don't have air to equalize. But if you really think through this, you're going to see that you do your beginner course, you arrive to 20 meters and you feel this at 20 meters. But you do the advanced course and you feel this when you arrive to 30 meters. And then you continue to go and you feel that every time you're going a deep dive. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that everybody that goes increasing the depth, the first time they do a depth, they feel like this. Yeah, but actually what they need to do is because a PB is a PB for everybody. So it comes with a little bit of tension, and it comes with tension in the mind and tension in the body. And this tension always affects the equalization. Yeah, because when you don't letting your body to do what is natural to do, then, the pressure you're going to feel somewhere else. Yeah, so what are you going to do? You either are going to have your tongue stuck in your palate. So then you're going to feel that you cannot equalize. You're going to swallow. You're going to close the soft palate. And you're going to have all these things and you're going to hear noises while you're equalizing. So it's actually more like a matter of adaptation. If you start to relax, if you start to let yourself go, if you stop to think about that you're going deep and you try to focus on many other things that are happening while you're diving, then you're going to see that you're going to stop having these feelings.
So yeah, I was talking to Thibaut Guignez about you, and he spent quite a bit of time being coached by you, and as have many others as well. So when you take on a student like Thibaut who wants to progress as quickly and safely as possible, and maybe their intention is to compete at a high level, what kind of coaching strategy do you have?
Well, I think in general I have a coaching static that for me, it's okay, we want to go deep. But you need to enjoy freediving. You need to sometimes put aside the numbers and really think why you're doing this sport, and to be honest with you, I think that freediving is a really bad paid sport. Yeah, and I always tell the people, you are coming to me and you are paying to be doing freediving. So since you are going to pay for this, at least allow yourself to enjoy it. So I think one of the most important things I always do is I teach people to enjoy. So, I normally what I do is I make them take a step back, in the depths. Because, we tend to race into depths. Yeah, but I think the depth is something that goes happening naturally. You need to feel comfortable at a certain depth to then try to go deeper. Because if you don't do that, what you are doing is you are increasing the process that is actually taking you into something that is not full of pleasure. And the truth is that when you learn to enjoy, when you really learn to enjoy freediving is a really full of pleasure sport. okay, I cannot say that, maybe I cannot speak about somebody that is going past 120 meters because I know it's a tough way up and everything, but they keep on doing it, so it cannot be so bad, you know? So, what I did with Thibaut, the same day with Olin and with many other people, is that normally I take a step back and I go more into, okay, we're gonna do this, and yeah, I do exercise just to relax, just to enjoy, you know, like we work on relaxing the body, relaxing, like really feeling the whole body. And I work a lot on technique because I really feel like if you feel like you're efficient in the water, you're gonna feel more relaxed. You know, like I think that in freediving, when we freedive, you know, like normally we have a backpack, you know, and this backpack we go put in everything, you know, like you go filling it with things, you know, and this backpack is called confidence. Yeah, so to feel confident, you need to have a breath hold. Yeah, because if you don't have a breath hold, you are subconscious, like, yeah, I don't know if I can go this deep because it's a long dive. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. So you need to work on the breath hold. You know what? I don't know if I'm strong enough to come up to yourself. It's okay. You don't have to be strong enough. You have to have a very efficient and good technique. So when you know you have the good technique, okay, you put that in your backpack. So you go, you know, like setting up all the bases that you need. So for me, you know, deep freediving is the cherry on top of the cake. You know, you train, when you're training, you train all the other things, and you train really hard for all these things. So when you go to do a deep dive, I always say, when I set up the line, you're gonna go to the end of the line. There is no hesitation about this because we have been working on this. So people need to trust the process of training. So when you go to deep freedive, this is the price for all the effort that you have put in all the training before. You know, people tend to take the deep diving like it's like, oh, this is a hard one. No, the deep diving is the easier one. You know, it's one dive. It's one dive you can put all together everything you have learned for months. So I try to change a little bit the concept and the importance of the deep dive. And also, you know, like the relevance. You know, if you do a deep dive, you have three outcomes. You do it, you don't do it, or you black out. It's not much more difficult than that. You know, it's not any bigger than that. You do it, amazing. You don't do it, we can try another day. You black out, I'm there to help you. So, of course, we want to avoid the blackout, but it's also one of the realities that we have in freediving when the people dive deep. But you know, nothing in there is so big. It's not so important. You do the dive, amazing. You don't do it, amazing. You know, it's just a dive. It's not any bigger than that.
I just want to jump back a little bit and ask you a question about, I forgot to ask this at the time because I heard you saying something and I want to put it in to the interview before. Did you say that, maybe I heard you wrong, but did you say that you had students who were using BTV who were having more squeezes?
Yeah, I have two students that were having the squeezes, and they were actually really comfortable in the water. So I didn't.
Is this trachea squeezes?
Yeah, trachea squeezes.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned that because I have one friend who I dive with sometimes, and he's also he's naturally BTV, but he has actually squeezed his trachea a couple of times when we've been diving. And it just felt very unusual and very strange because he's so comfortable in the water and he goes quite deep too.
Yeah, that's exactly why I started learning that, because at that time I couldn't explain myself why this was happening.
And do you have some theory why BTV, using BTV would be more likely to lead to a trachea squeeze?
You know, like by having BTV, you're not more likely to have trachea squeeze. It's not that. It's a matter of relaxation. And it has to do with the fact that when you do BTV and if you're using your mask, sometimes you tend to take air from your mask, which is actually a mistake. You shouldn't be taking air from your mask. What you have to do if you're doing BTV is you should keep your mask always a little bit away from your face. If you do BTV, what you need to do is like try to keep your eustachian tubes always open. You know, I don't really like BTV when you have to like press every time. I think it's much more efficient if you work in a way that you really relax the muscles. Like you really, really relax the muscles surrounding your eustachian tubes. You relax your jaw. Actually, what you have to do is you push your jaw a little bit down. Like if your jaw would be like really down, and you try to keep your mouth and your tongue relaxed down. Because if you let that the tongue gets stuck on the roof of the mouth, which is what happens when we lose the relaxation, then for people that do BTV, it's almost impossible to equalize, and you can feel that the mass is getting completely stuck to your face. So what we do is like we swallow, and we swallow, and we swallow, and we swallow, and I think that's what's causing the squeeze in the trachea. This swallowing movement, because it feels like it feels really, really uncomfortable. So what I did is I caused myself, I didn't have that before, but then I started causing myself, like I tried to have uncomfortability. I asked what they were feeling and this, and I started to try to feel that. So then when I got it, then I was in a problem because I was feeling it all the time. Because I got so used to the bad habit. So then I work a lot into improving it. So then I start working on these things. So the first thing I did that worked was releasing my jaw. And by just releasing my jaw, what I noticed that my soft palate was opening, and I can feel that my mask was going away from my face. And I think the moment when the mask starts getting stuck to your face, that's when you are more likely to get a squeeze.
Do you have any thoughts on, like, for your students, what kind of like complementary training, if any, do you recommend for freediving? Like you say that you do some sports in the afternoons, like you go running. Are there any other kind of like physical activities that you think really help with freediving? And what are your thoughts on nutrition too? Do you have any kind of like ideas about what nutrition is best for freediving, or are you very relaxed about that?
I have a say that if it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. Okay, so I think that like it's like everything. I can eat whatever and I can go run in a marathon. If I want to win the marathon, then I'm gonna have to cut down on certain things. I'm gonna have to be more specific about everything I'm doing. I think if you're gonna do something regarding to freediving, first of all, for me, it's better that you do a sport that you don't do anything to start with. But also, I always thought that if you're gonna do something, you need to feel comfortable with what you are doing. You need to do something that you're willing to do. Because if you hate running, and I don't think that running is the most close sport that you can do related to freediving, don't go running, because you will never go. So you are doing something that is only generating anxiety because you cannot create an habit on doing it. Like, for example, me, I really, really don't like yoga. I am too hyperactive for it, but I don't feel guilty about it. I know that I can stretch, and I know that I can do other sports, so I don't push myself to do something I feel really, really uncomfortable with. So if you ask me, I think something that is a must if you're going to freedive is stretching. If you want to keep up with yourself, you have to do stretching. If you want to do yoga, I think yoga is an amazing way of stretching. So normally it's going to help you.
But if you don't enjoy it, then don't push yourself to do it.
No, but stretch. And when you stretch, find exercises that you feel a little bit, even when they are challenging, they should be challenging, the exercises. You have to find a routine or something that you are going to do. Because when you stop doing, when you have to do something that is so horrible for you, that you have to push yourself, every time you have an time, you're going to find an excuse to not do it. I think I really like, for freediving, I really like any sport related with water. I think that being aquatic is really cool for freediving. So I have many students, I send them to go swimming with a coach because they do monofin kicking, or even if you do free immersion, if you do no fins. The thing is that freediving as a sport is quite new. We still discussing if this technique is better than this one or than this one. But when you come to the sport of swimming, You have books that tells you exactly how you should be putting your finger in the water to enter, to be more efficient, to be more. So I think that not going to a swimming teacher to do monofin kicking when you can see how the people can move so efficiently without using the monofin in the water, I think it would be stupid not to do it. So if I could send somebody and they ask me what can I do when I go back to Europe, I would say, okay, grab a swimming coach.
Get a swimming coach, yeah.
And learn how to swim, monofin kick, how to do a proper kicking, how to swim, you're gonna have hours of time in the water. And the thing is that when you know how to move water, when you know how to move in the water, you're gonna be much more efficient. And also you're spending time in the water, and the body, water, it's gonna be adapting to be there. Mammalian diving reflex doesn't only happen when we are holding our breath. So I think it's a very efficient. I really like to go swimming. And then if I have to say something that's completely different, I think high intensity training is nice. But I do think that you have to do sport. I do think that it's important that you keep yourself fit. Because I've met a lot of deep freedivers and they are all fit. I've been with them in the water and they can stay in the water for 6 hours and they can be awesome for 6 hours, so people are fit. Alexei Molchanov is fit. William Truis is fit. Miguel Lozano, even though he always plays like he's lazy, he's not at all. He spent like thousands of hours in the water teaching and everything. Sarah Campbell put in her body, she do Kundalini yoga and she do exercises. I have been doing Kundalini yoga with her and it's like it's worse than running a marathon. And if you do yoga with somebody, you're gonna see that you need to have a lot of core strength. So I think if you want to do freediving, you want to be, you should care to be fit. It's a sport. And regarding nutrition, I am a person, I do take care of my nutrition a lot. I would recommend that people take care of the nutrition, but I don't like Bibles. I think that in everything, there must be an equilibrium. I think if you're going to be a sport person and you're going to go for really strong training, when you take a day off is a day off. So you need to allow yourself to enjoy certain things, you're going to go with your friends and you're going to go for beers, go for the beers and don't feel guilty about it, go all the way, because your brain also needs to be relaxed and to know that when you are relaxing, you are relaxing. Everybody needs holidays in the brain. So yeah, nutrition, we all know about what is good for freediving. I'm not really a lot into alkaline diets. I think that our bodies, we are homeostatics. So at the end, whatever we do, the body is gonna come back to equilibrium. So you have to be logic, and don't eat. And what you have to do is not just feed yourself. You have to do nutrition. So when you sit down in front of your plate, there needs to be some value in what you are eating.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's common sense that we need to eat real food that is real whole food that is high in nutrition. Plants that haven't been changed. If you're gonna eat meat, if you're gonna eat fish, then you need to eat the high quality meat and fish that you can find, and not replace that with like slices of ham from the convenience store. Eat sweet potatoes, don't eat French fries. Eat spinach, don't eat frozen carrots. I think it's quite easy, right?
Yeah, it's very easy and it's very logical. But also, sometimes you need to eat what you want to eat. If you are dying to eat French fries, have a plate of French fries. What is good for the soul is good for the body.
Right. Yes.
I wouldn't say that you eat every day French fries, but if you have like a small portion of French fries, you're not gonna die because of that.
Yeah, you're not gonna kill yourself.
You're not gonna dive 10 meters less deep because of that. You will only dive 10 meters less because of that, because you convince yourself of that.
Yeah, well, maybe if you eat French fries every morning for breakfast, you might dive 10 meters less deep eventually.
Well, if you eat the French fry for breakfast every day, maybe you're gonna need a lot of weight to go down.
Okay, so we have patrons who support the show through Patreon, and I want to give them the chance to ask questions on the show sometimes. So I actually got a question for you from Jean Turquois. I'm sorry, Jean. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce your name. You're from Canada. It sounds like a French Canadian name. But Jean would like to ask about training psychological resilience. So she says that, we all know that building up physical capabilities could be straining, and increasing performance is a long-term process. How does a professional athlete train their psychological resilience in order to endure the training program and stay motivated? So I guess what they're asking is, like at the top level, how does one train psychological resilience?
A ver, that's a long question to answer.
Take your time.
I think I work more psychologically than physically. Normally I don't give people like a preparation to come to see me in Bali, but I do work a lot on them psychologically. The thing is that I think we all go in different processes. I think you have a certain amount of time that you can really dive deep. And I think what you need to do about your deep diving is like to set up objectives. I remember I was working with somebody here in Bali, and we have the goal to go past the 100 meters. And at the beginning, it looked like it wasn't possible to go because we were having some troubles. So I think the way it goes is that you need to remind yourself what you are doing. You need to, when you are training, you need to remind yourself why you are doing this. What is the objective? And also, there is one thing that I hear Serena Williams said, because, Serena Williams, I really admire her because she does train a lot. And she trained to be a champion since she was 10 years old or younger even. And they asked her, like, Serena, are you not tired of training? And she said, like, you don't feel any time that you don't want to train? And she gave an answer that for me was badass. And she was like, there are many days that I don't feel like training, but there is no one day in my life that I wake up feeling like losing. Yeah, so you need to think that, yeah, you can be tired for going training, but, are you going to give yourself excuses, or are you going to think about what is the final objective and you're going to keep on going? So you really need to think why you're doing this, and you need, motivation, it doesn't exist. You don't need to be motivated to do something. You just go and do the things. You can't 1, 2, 3 do it. You cannot manage all the things why you wouldn't do this. You put something, you set up an objective, and you just go every day and you work it out. And for me, another thing that is important psychologically when you're going to train freediving, and it's something that for me makes champions, it's like to stop saving yourself for tomorrow. You come today to train. Yeah, I'm feeling like this and I'm feeling like this, but I'm going to give everything that I have in every dive that I'm going to do. If I allow myself in a dive to have an excuse to give up because I'm going to have the next dive, you are already creating a mind that is very lazy. And in freediving, what you're going to see, and I think this is something that is really important, is you're going to see that you see William Truby, you see Alexei Mochanov, you see Miguel Lozano, you see Davide Carrera, you see all the girls, like Alessia Cecchini, you see Tomoka, you see Sayuri, and you're going to see one thing. Deep freedivers don't turn. They don't turn because they have taught themselves that they don't turn. Yeah, they don't allow themselves to any weakness or anything that happen in the dive to stop their objective. So I think in training, if someone wants to train themselves psychologically, they need to stop saving themselves for tomorrow. When you go training, there is only today, and there is only this dive. So you do this dive, and you give it all on this dive, and then you go for the next dive and you give it all on this dive. You need to stop excusing yourself and trying to find perfection, there is no perfection. There is good enough, and good enough is more than enough for freediving. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, well, it's I think it answers Jean's question. Yeah, interesting, very good. Um, let's talk a little bit about the Australian Depth National Championship. You've been hosting the competition.
Yes.
How is that working out for you? It's quite a new competition. Is it? Do you see it something that could potentially grow into something else?
To be honest with you, I love the competition. This competition has a great environment. Australians, the guys that are managing the Australian Freediving Association are really nice. They are really, really organized, which is something I really like. I'm a little bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to organizing competitions. Because, you know how it works with competitions. If the things work well, it is amazing. But if something goes wrong, it goes really wrong. So you cannot leave yourself or allow yourself to go into, I know I forgot to do this or I forgot to do that. So you need to be very precise and you need to be very organized. And in the sense, how the Australian competition work, they are really trustful and they have trust us to organize this. And I thought that every time was better and better. Australian competitors, I have to say, they are really nice. There is a great environment. You can see that everybody is supporting everybody. And it's really nice. When they finish the dive, they all stay and they coach each other. So I think the environment of the Australian competition is beautiful. And it's something I really, really like. I think it's a little bit logical that they do in Bali because I think Bali is the holiday place for Australia in general. We are so close and Australians love Bali so much that for them it's very easy to come here. It's cheap flights. They love it, so they feel very comfortable in here. And I'm looking forward. This year we have to cancel the competition because we have been evacuated from the. We start to have many tremors before the competition. We had here John Wright. He was one of the judges. He wrote to me and said, "Julia, how about this?" We even have a staff working for us, and when it comes to a natural disaster that could be like this, you cannot really say to somebody, no worry, it's gonna be okay, because I cannot know that, and I cannot say, you know what, no, stay, and we're gonna do this. If I'm gonna have people that I'm gonna be working on keeping safe for the people I need them to be feeling safe as well. So for the whole environment, for the sake of the competition, we thought it was much wiser to just cancel the competition.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it will be able to go ahead this year without any troubles.
Oh, I'm really looking forward for it.
Nice. You've been living in Bali for 8 years or something like that?
Yes.
So what I want to ask about is the situation with the condition of the ocean there. Have you noticed in 8 years that there's been a massive degradation in the quality of the marine life, or do you think that Bali stays relatively healthy? Do you think the problems with the ocean are getting much worse there? How is it in Bali as far as you see it?
Well, I have always been here for 8 years, and I remember when I arrived in Bali, I felt I was mind blown. The marine life is quite amazing. The fact that we are in this place where it's close to the volcano, life really flourish in the ocean, and this is amazing. I didn't have seen a degrade on the amount of marine life, like a really big degrade. There is no fishing around the areas where we are. It's quite protected. There is no such a thing as this mining fishing, at least not in the place where I live or where I normally dive. If I have to say something that is worrying about what's happening in general in Indonesia, but I think it's a problem in the world, is that what is worrying is the situation with the plastic. Plastic waste all around the world. This is something that worries me. Because you see here when it started the rainy season, The first days you have a fairly big amount of plastic in the ocean, and I tell you, it kills me, like it's like it breaks your heart. I have, we go out of the water and we have the buoy that is completely full of plastic, and you really didn't even scratch the surface of, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So I think in this world that we are living right now, we really need to start taking care of this plastic thing, and we're not going to have any ocean to be swimming on. Not in Bali, not in anywhere, it's not the plastic we are just producing in Bali. This plastic is coming from all around the world. The thing is that here we condense a lot amount of currents, so sometimes you can see it quite strongly. And I think it's horrible. It's sad as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope for the best. So on a more positive note, yeah, I mean, I usually ask my guests, if they have some kind of a morning ritual, but I think you already, you made it clear that you get up, you have your coffee, and then you're pretty much in the water straight away, right?
Yeah.
What about, can you recommend a book or an author for the listeners? Do you get much time to read?
Oh yeah, I read a lot.
Well, you're finished work at like 12 in the afternoon, so you must have lots of time to read.
I normally read at night. I'm quite hyperactive, to be honest. So
Right.
I'm always moving. I'm always doing stuff. But I really like to go to sleep with a book. And you want me to recommend a book?
Yeah, recommend a book or even an author. It can be anything. Doesn't have to be related to freediving or the water. Just something for the next dive trip or the next long plane journey or something like that.
I quite like an author called Paul Auster. I actually like all his books, but the last book that I read from him that I really I thought it was super smart was, let me see, because I don't know the name in English, so I'm gonna check it. If you give me 1 second,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I recommended it to somebody like just a few days ago, so it's actually something that they asked me.
Can you
It's
say the
called
name again for me? What's his name again?
Paul Auster.
Paul Oscar?
Paul Auster.
Yeah.
And the name is The Book of Illusions.
Okay, the Book of
Illusions.
Illusions. Okay. Okay, excellent. So yeah, I'll check it out, and I'll put that in the show notes for the listeners to check out if they want to.
Yeah,
So
guys, you're welcome if you read it.
yeah. So Giulia, what are your plans for the future? Do you have any like big plans down the road, or are you just the kind of person who lives day to day and sees what happens?
I do live day to day, but I also have plans.
So how is Giulia going to take over the world?
Diving wise for myself, I've decided that at some point in my life I want to dive to 100 meters. I would love to go to 100 meters. And regarding the school, I would like to have the like a real big freediving training center. I would really love to have that. I feel like somehow we are building it, but I would like to have something like with a swimming pool and, with a place with videos, and bring people that are actually swimming coaches to explain mobility in the water. I would love to do these kind of things. I really like to listen into people and organize like workshops where people explain things. I really like that, and I think that's pretty much it. Like I would love to be like a much better coach. Like I really like training people. I really like to see how people do. I also think that my part on the whole thing is very small. When they tell me it's all for you, I say like, there's no way. Don't lie to yourself. When you go down, you just go by yourself. Nobody goes down with you. So I'm not the one that made people do things. I'm just a tool for them to try to improve. Sometimes I have to say things to help them, or I try to help them to do things. But actually, freedivers, the good freedivers, they just go down by themselves. So the rest, I would be putting some medals that I don't deserve. But I really like being a coach because I learn a lot about people, and I really like, the contact with people. I'm very lucky, like when you work in this, everybody you work with are here because they want to be, which is not something that happens on every job in the world, like everybody that is in the school with me, they want to be with me. So you get to connect with people in a level that you don't connect normally because you are working with fears, you are working with trust. So I feel I'm very, very lucky. I get to meet deeply a lot of people, which is something that don't happen in any other job. Okay. There is no small talk when we are doing freediving. Everything is big talk. So, to have your life meeting people and always having big talks with them, I sign up for that for life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that you succeed in reaching 100 meters at some point. I hope you fulfill that dream, and also if you do end up building this amazing free diving center, then I'll definitely be coming to visit you as well, and see what it's like. So Giulia, if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you? Do you have a website and Facebook pages? If so, what should they look for?
They should find us in www.apneabali.com, and then Facebook is Apnea Bali, and they can also find us sometimes in Gili Air in freediveair.com, and also Freedive Air in social media, and our Instagram is Apnea Bali. Actually, I invite you to look at our Instagram because we have really cool pictures. My business partner is an amazing photographer.
Yep, yeah, I've seen them. They're amazing, beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, she do like really cool pictures. So I invite you to go and visit the page. It's really nice.
Nice. Yeah, so for you guys who are listening, all those links are going to be in the show notes for Giulia's episode. Yeah, Giulia, that's all for the questions. It's been awesome, Giulia. Thank you so much for taking the time today to sit down and talk to me. It's like, yeah, it's my pleasure. And hopefully we can meet up in Bali in a couple of months, in 3 months, and I can do some training with you and I can see the school. I'm really looking forward to that, and yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, me too. And I'm gonna send you when my friends are in Taiwan. I'm gonna put you in touch with him. He's also a freediver. He's really cool, and he was telling me that if I knew somebody in Taiwan to freedive with, so perfect. And he's really good freediver, so we're gonna be cool with him.
Okay, yeah, send him to me. I'll look after him.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a lovely...
Thank you so much for making it so comfortable.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was awesome to talk with you. And please keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to meet you here in Bali.
Nice, nice. Okay, well, see you soon then.
See you soon.
Okay,
bye,
bye, Giulia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Gili Mouce. In the end, the timing just didn't work out for me to go and visit her at Apnea Bali, but it'll happen one day for sure. It was amazing talking to Giulia. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. Lots more amazing guests coming soon. This is a 4-episode month, so I'll be talking to you again next week. Remember, if you need a buoy or lanyard, you can do better. Remember, if you need a buoy or a lanyard, you can't do better than the gear from 2B Free Equipment. Get free shipping anywhere in the world if you write Freedive Café free shipping in the order notes. Feel free to add me on Facebook where I'm Donny Mac. Follow me on Instagram where I am Donny McFar, DonnyMcFar. And otherwise, if you have any questions or suggestions, you can also contact me through the website. I'll try to reply to every message, so don't be shy. Until next week, water lovers, dive safe.